Hi everyone, welcome to Spotlight with Suman, a platform where we engage with one image consultant and a soft skills trainer from ICBI. So, all those people who do not know about ICBI, Image Consulting Business Institute is world's #1 institute for image consulting and soft skills training, and I am the co-founder and director of ICBI. So every time we interact with one image consultant and a soft skills trainer who's certified from ICBI, and we get to understand their success story, their past, their present, and how do they stay relevant in today's market. So let's interact with one of our very successful image consultant and a soft skills trainer. Her name is Kavita Dhillon. She's from Gurgaon. Kavita is basically also a business etiquette and life coach. So let's see where Kavita is and let's start our interaction. Hello Kavita.
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
Very well. How are you doing?
Absolutely fine, ma'am. At the very onset, I would like to thank you so much. It's an honor to be hosted by you, ma'am. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Just adjust your camera a little bit. I think you're looking very low on the camera.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is better.
This is better, ma'am?
Yeah, much better.
Okay.
Great. So how are you doing?
Absolutely fine, ma'am. Great.
And how's Gurgaon's weather?
Gurgaon weather, ma'am, last 3-4 days, it's quite chilly. But luckily today, there's good sunshine. So the weather is a little better today.
Great, great, great. Fantastic. Okay, so let's start. Are
Yes,
you all
ma'am.
set?
Yes, ma'am, all set. I hope I'm
Okay, so
audible and visible.
yes, absolutely. And I
Okay,
hope
ma'am.
that I am also absolutely, clear and
Just
visible.
Just a minute, ma'am. Just a minute. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I want to ask you, the first question is that what were you doing prior to joining ICBI? I mean, you come from a very, defense background and,
Yes,
all that
ma'am.
kind of stuff, which I'm going to ask you a little later.
Yes, ma'am.
But
Yes, ma'am.
what made you decide on becoming a part of ICBI?
Okay, ma'am. As far as my background is concerned, just after finishing my post graduation, I was lucky enough to get a job in the corporate. I would say like government export house, wherein I was picked up immediately the moment I finished my post graduation. I was picked up as a management trainee and an executive. So I was I really started enjoying doing that work. And it was just about a year and a half that marriage happened, and immediately life changed for me. And it's very different, being an army daughter and an army wife. I got married to an army officer, so the life is very different. I had to quit my job and move to another city, and which I was not able to understand as a daughter. Right, you're quitting your job, and suddenly you end up picking up a teaching job, which I had never even thought in my wildest dreams that I'll be doing that. But then I had to choose between whether I wanted to be with my husband or pursue my career. So I thought, yes, of course, I wanted to be with my husband, and I picked up teaching job. And
But
there were
tell me
other
something,
opportunities. Yes,
Kavita, tell me something. I mean,
yes,
you
ma'am.
would have already been used to of that kind of lifestyle because you were an army daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
So how was it different from
Different
being?
because, ma'am, from when being an army daughter, you're just thinking about yeah, you're not thinking about the career, just about your studies, education. And I was studying in a boarding also, so I was doing whatever I wanted to do. But being an
True.
army wife, as far as pursuing a career was, as far as this was concerned, I had to make a decision whether I want to continue with my corporate job, or I, move around with my husband. And of course, it was my choice to get married to an army officer. So I decided to, just quit that and move around with him. So I picked up teaching job because, I just didn't want to waste my time. I thought whatever is, at hand, I should, utilize it in the best possible manner. I picked up a teaching job, and, I was lucky enough to work in some of the best schools and institutions across the country, I would say. And in between, I took sabbatical whenever I was expecting my children. I took a sabbatical for 3 years. And, my teaching journey has also been very interesting. I've taught classes right from nursery till the university level, because whenever my kids were small and I took a sabbatical, when they started going to the school, I joined the same school. And, once they grew up, I have, right now also I'm a visiting faculty with one of the renowned universities in Gurgaon. So, I
So
have
how many places have you traveled to? I mean,
traveled,
be okay
ma'am.
with, yeah.
I don't remember the count, but it must be definitely more than 20. Definitely more than
My God.
20. Yes, ma'am.
So that is quite an adjustment.
Yes, definitely, ma'am. But I really enjoyed that kind of life, because initially when I came to Gurgaon, and I thought now I'm going to stay here because the kids were growing up and for the education purpose. So I was like, little after 2 years, you start getting bored. Okay, what to do, because you're so used to, moving to a different place, packing your stuff, and, moving to a new house. I was very used to it and I really enjoyed that. But now, yes, I'm settled here in Gurgaon.
And how do the kids adjust with the entire scenario of school and everything? Because
Ma'am,
that also must be taking a toll on
they
them.
were also very quite used to it, making new friends at every new place they go, and they were quite happy with it, quite happy with it, ma'am.
Wow, fantastic.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me, what inspired you to take up image consulting as a career?
Ma'am, when it comes to a career, although I was teaching, and utilizing whatever resources, whatever best possible opportunities I was getting, but inside I was a very creative person, and I always wanted to do something for myself. So when my husband got posted to Delhi, and my kids were, growing up a little, so I thought, they don't need me as much what they required me earlier. So when we came to Delhi, I had this thing in mind that I have to do something. I have to do something of my own. So I was just contemplating what to do. And then I came across that ad which came in July 2015. And it was like, the moment I saw that ad, it was like, I never knew that, it was like, tailor made for me. I had been doing all that stuff, interacting with so many people, doing a lot of social work. And I thought the things that I was doing, I never knew that it could be converted into a profession. When I saw that, it was like, it's for me. Before, when I attended the workshop, I knew that I'm going to join that. And when I attended the workshop, it was an instant decision that, yes, I'm doing it. And believe me, ma'am, when I was sitting there as a participant, and I think Devapriya was conducting that workshop, Devapriya Khanna, and I was there only thinking, okay, I want to be at her place very soon, conducting a workshop like this. And I did also that. And it was an instantaneous decision, and I joined ICBI, ma'am.
Okay, great. So as an image consultant, what kind of assignments do you undertake?
Ma'am, when it comes to assignments, I have been doing different kinds of assignments with different clients. It all depends the requirement of the clients, because I have been lucky enough to work with some of the best brands in the country. I've worked with public sector units, private sector, government sectors, as well as a lot of universities. I've covered all the universities in Gurgaon, not only in Gurgaon, but out of Gurgaon also. So I have done Gujarat National Law University, Chennai Academy of Research and Education. So I've done a lot of universities also, apart from public, private sector and government sector. So it depends upon the requirement of the client. Based on the requirement, I design my program. And I did my image and soft skills from ICBI. But as I started undertaking the trainings, I realized that a lot of people, in spite of, a lady comes to me saying that, yes, I need a style makeover. I'm going to attend a wedding, and you just guide me how to go about it, what dresses to wear on different occasions as per my body shape, face shape. Okay, I helped her, but still she was not confident because something was amiss from inside. So I just, got that thing. Till the time the person is not feeling good from inside, it's not confident about his or her own inner image, self-image, self-esteem. Till that time, no matter what image makeover you give to the person, he'll not be able to carry that thing properly. So that is the time when I realized that, the inside needs to be worked simultaneously. So then I went on to do my neuro-linguistic practitioner, master practitioner certification. And now I incorporate my image, soft skills, and NLP to bring out the best in my clients, whether it's one-on-one consultations or whether it is, when I'm doing corporate trainings, because, there also what happens, even if I'm doing a soft skills training, no matter what, I make sure that 15 to 20 minutes I devote to image also. I will definitely talk about grooming and how to, dress up depending upon the kind of people I'm dealing with. So I definitely incorporate that 15, 20 minutes of image, even if I'm doing a soft skill training. So that is
So
how,
I
I'm
think
going
the
to.
most important aspect is when we talk about holistic image,
Yes.
you have to work on the outside as well as the inside. So both have to
Yes.
go simultaneously. I don't think that
Definitely.
one is complete without the other, right?
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely, ma'am. So that is what I have started, calling my program also, working on holistic image or unleash your true self, wherein we need to take care of the inside as well as outside.
Absolutely. And there are a lot
Yes,
of
ma'am.
people who come to us and they say that whether I should do image consulting only or soft skills only. And I always recommend that you should do a combination of both,
Yes,
because
definitely, ma'am.
without one, the other is incomplete.
Yes, it goes hand in hand. It goes hand in
Absolutely.
hand. Yes, ma'am.
So why do you think image consulting and soft skills training is one of the most lucrative self-employment option for all age groups? Because it's not, it's tailor-made for everyone. At
Yes.
the same time, there are a lot of people who also have this glitch that, okay, now I'm 45, is this the right profession for me? I'm 17, am I, getting into the right profession? So
Yes.
the best part about this industry has always been that it can be custom made as per the requirement of one single consultant. So
Yes.
what, do you agree with this kind of a scenario, or do you have a different point of view?
Uh, yes, I do agree with this, whatever you said, ma'am. Because, when we talk about the training industry, it is not age specific, right? Anyone starting, because I have seen very young people, age 21, 22, getting into the training industry, and right up to the people 75 years old. In fact, one, Mr. Kashyap, he had done his soft skill training with us only. And, that time I was thinking, okay, being 75, he has thought of doing something at this age. After retirement, also, he had thought. In fact, I came home and was discussing about his energy and enthusiasm. So it is not that, it is age specific. And when we talk about the training industry, once you do this kind of a course, image and soft skills, there are endless possibilities, and endless possibilities because you wear different hats. Just by doing these two courses, there are different things that you can do. So you either identify your niche area, or if you're comfortable, you can just try out different things whenever, whatever opportunity you are getting. And of course, great earning potential is definitely there. And apart from this, what I feel is, corporate training budget is expected to rise much, when it is in all the sectors. And this is because, lot of employees or whatever, when we talk about, customer service, so you always feel that it is always beneficial to retain your old customers. So similarly, the same thing happens in the corporates also. If you every time keep employing new people, the cost comes out to be very high. So it's better to take care of already the employees that you have. So the training industry in all the sectors require this kind of a training. So that is why there is a huge scope in the training industry. And when there was a survey conducted where it was told, it is going to training. When we talk about the training budget or how the training industry is going to progress, it is going to go into two figures in the financial year uh, um, 2019 to 2025. 2 years have already gone by, maybe because of COVID has come, but I don't think so that something has really stopped now also, because whatever trainings we were having offline, that is continuing online as well. So there's a huge scope of in the training industry. In fact, this is the most happening self-employment industries, I would say.
And I think training and development is one of the most happening industry for now, also because
Definitely,
more and
ma'am.
more people are getting into a challenging situation because of COVID.
Yes.
where out of 100, 1% used to get employed. Now it is like out of 300, 1% gets employed. So it's a
Definitely,
difficult
ma'am.
situation. More and more people want self enhancement, training, and development, constant upgradation of their skills. So this is
Yes.
somewhere I always feel that, I mean, training and development will always be a situation, a scenario where more and more people need to develop themselves, in the ongoing process.
Definitely, ma'am. And in fact, I would say that, in the universities also these days, they have started having the programs for the university students also, for soft skills especially. And not only for the university students, for their faculty also. They have the faculty development programs wherein they are having all this soft skills training for them, so that and when the kids, they pass out from the college, the way we have the corporate campus to corporate trainings, so when they pass out from the college, they are already trained in these trainings. So there's a huge scope for the training industry. That is what I feel. It's just, you just need to identify where you can utilize whatever skills you have undergone in ICBI.
And also
So,
learn the right skill set. That is something which is very
definitely,
important. If you don't know the
definitely,
right skill set, if you don't adapt the right skill set, you will, in all probability, be back to square one. But getting the
definitely,
right
ma'am.
skills and then getting into, going for the right opportunity, I mean, these are the two important things that we
Very
really.
important, very important, very important.
Absolutely. So you have been working a lot with different kind of organizations, different kind of
Yes,
clients. So share with us one of your most interesting client experiences that you think that has been very close to your heart.
yes, ma'am. Okay. Oh, there have been a lot of experiences, but the one that has been very close to my heart, ma'am, that I would say happened in 2020 only. That was in January 2020. And that time I was undergoing my 15-day residential training in Manesar. Why, I believe in upskilling myself. So as and when I get an opportunity, I keep doing that. So that time I was undergoing one of the 15 days residential training program, and I happened to get this training. Of course, I was informed about it about 15 days back only. So I was well prepared for it. I was very well prepared for it. And I went and conducted my training. I got a good response. The people were very participative, highly enthusiastic, and how I had designed, because I was extremely busy with my training, the training that I was undergoing, I was extremely busy. So how I had designed my program was, it was completely activity based. All the learnings were through the activities. So I went and conducted it. The people were highly participative, very enthusiastic, and once I finished my training, I got a standing ovation from, and that training was for the vigilance officers of one of the insurance companies. I got a standing ovation from all of them, and it was like, one of the aha moments for me as far as my training career is concerned. I had, I had been getting good feedbacks, but this was something, all senior officers standing and giving you a standing ovation. That is something very close to my heart. That is what I feel.
Brilliant. So that must be like a very high kind of a moment for you, right?
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely. No monetary benefit can be compared with that. That kind of a high when you get. That is something. And I went on to bag an annual training assignment with them. That was, of course, there. But, the high that you get after that appreciation and the positive feedback, 10 on 10 feedback when you get. So it is definitely a great high for you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you come from an army background. I mean, your
Yes,
parents,
ma'am.
your father has been in the army, your husband has been in the army. I mean, he
Yes,
still
ma'am.
might be in the army.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me, I mean, coming from that kind of a background where, I mean, so many people have been in the defense.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
what is the role of discipline in your life? I mean, how does it apply in your life and how do you use it for your profession, in your professional situation as well?
Okay, ma'am, discipline I think is very important, and it cannot be forced onto somebody. That is what I feel. Being from an army background, I would not say that okay, you have to be from an army background only to be disciplined. But that is what when you see it in your family, because as I said, it cannot be forced. When you see it in your family, you see the other people being disciplined. A lot of people have this belief, if you're self-disciplined, you're very harsh towards yourself. You're living a very limited life, restrictive lifestyle. It's not that, actually. Self-disciplined, it means self-control. which is a sign of inner strength. That is what I feel, right? You have a control on yourself, on your actions, on, you know, whatever reactions you are giving, whatever decisions you're taking, right? So I feel if you're self-disciplined, whatever decisions you're taking, you stick on to those decisions. You don't keep changing your mind. So it is like, you know, I have seen this thing being followed in my family, so I adapted to it. So now I can't force this onto my children, but if I walk the talk, if they see that yes, my parents are, you know, following these things, getting up early in the morning and following a routine or something like that, so automatically they also start doing it. They won't do it for a few days, but then it becomes a lifestyle of the house and they start doing it. So
So
yes,
do
it
you
is
have a
extreme.
routine? Do you follow a routine? Do you
Yes,
have some sort
definitely,
of a
ma'am.
schedule?
Yes, I have a schedule, definitely. But of course, it is flexible as per the situation. I am little flexible, but definitely I have a routine. It's not possible to function without a routine because you have, you know, kids going to school and college, and you're taking care of my work, taking care of the home. So you need to have a routine. You can't function without a routine. So
And I
it's
also
like,
believe that you are a fitness enthusiast. I mean, you take care
yes,
of
ma'am,
your health very well.
definitely.
So
Yes, yes.
how
I'm
does
a
that fit
filter.
into your schedule?
Ma'am, I like, you know, when I have my training assignments in the afternoon, so my morning time, 1.5 hour is fixed. And so I don't go very early because I need to take care of the things at home also once I know that things are under control. So I go at around 10:30. I go to the gym and I exercise for 1.5 hour. And that is fixed. I would say 5 to 6 times in a week, it is fixed. Until some important assignment is there, which I need to conduct in the morning. So then I skip it, but I, you know, try to compensate it with some other time or some other day. So that is there. It has to be there. And seeing me, I think my children have also started, you know, thinking of, you know, my son is of course very following me and has started a regular exercise regime. And but I think yes, it is very important. You need to walk the talk. That is what I feel.
And what are your children doing? I mean, what age group are they?
Ma'am, my son, he's doing his post-graduation from Delhi University in journalism, and my daughter is in class 12th.
Okay, so both are
Yes,
grown up.
yes, both are grown up now.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me, I mean, Kavita, there are a lot of people who are watching this live interaction, and I'm
Yes,
sure they
ma'am.
would like to know and they would like to hear from you that what are the two most important nuggets that you would like to share with them, which
Yes,
would
ma'am.
be beneficial for them in some way or the other.
Yes. Okay. Two important nuggets that I would share with them from my experiences. First of all, I would like to say that anybody who is, you know, contemplating to become a trainer or to join, they need to understand that you don't have to go by the face value, because it happens when I began my journey. I used to see my seniors and I used to really admire them. Okay, tomorrow I want to be like them. But it is not just, you know, we see them successful. They have not become successful overnight. There's a lot of hard work, lot of perseverance, a lot of time, energy that has been devoted to reach that level. So everybody needs to understand that success doesn't happen overnight. You have to devote time, energy, your, you know, perseverance, I would say. It's a lot of hard work is required for that. So first is that don't go by the face value. Put in your efforts to reach that level of success. It's good to be inspired and motivated by others, but yes, it takes time to reach that level. Secondly, I would like to tell that whenever they get into something, they need to understand that failure and challenges are the part of the process. It happens that, you know, you feel, it has happened with me also, that, you know, you conduct some training or assignment and you don't get the desired results or feedback, and then you become very, you know, you feel very bad and you start thinking, you know, I'm not going to do it next time or some. But no, this is the part of the process. Failure, bad feedback, how you have to take it positively is entirely up to you. You have to learn from it. What were your learnings from this? What went wrong? How you can avoid making these mistakes in the next assignment? That is what is extremely important. You have to learn from all your experiences and become the person that you want to be. That is what I feel. So don't go by the face value, and try to understand that challenges and feedback are the part of the process of your journey. And I think it's an ongoing process. When we talk about self growth or something, it's an ongoing process. So you just keep enjoying it as it comes. That is what I feel.
So have you experienced any kind of adverse feedback ever?
Yes, definitely. I have, and in fact, I felt very bad also about it, and I was just thinking, how can this happen with me? What went wrong? Then, I would like to mention here that my seniors have been very supportive and very helpful. So I contacted my seniors and I asked them, okay, this is the training I had conducted and this is the way I went about it, and I didn't get a good feedback. So what could have gone wrong? So I got a very good, advice from them. Okay, you could have done this thing in a better way, how I could have done it. And I did the same training again. And I was very, fortunate enough to get a good feedback. So then you realize, because at that particular time, you feel, you have done in your best and you couldn't have gone wrong. But, when you look at from the other point of view also, you have to see, especially when you're training, you have to see it from the other's point of view also. What went wrong? What, how you could have avoided these mistakes. And when you start incorporating them in your future trainings, and, today also, after doing so many trainings, it happens that at times it doesn't go off that well, that how much you were expecting. The reason could be any. At times it happens that, your preparation was 100%, everything was 100%, but still it did not go well. It happens that, you were not in that state to, your energy levels were not up to the mark, and you were not able to present it in the best possible way. So you just have to understand what went wrong and just try to avoid that thing in the next training. This is what,
and I think it just happens phase by phase. There is a phase where, you get certain kind of feedbacks, and then once you improve over a period of time,
yes.
You look back on your areas of improvement, work upon them, and then move ahead in life, right?
Yes, definitely. Very important. And now also, after conducting so many trainings, at times it happens that it didn't go off well. But the only thing is just to learn from it and not to repeat it in the next training. That is what I feel.
Absolutely. So Kavita, share with us one of your more than a paycheck moment where you felt that it was worth, one moment where you felt that it was worth becoming an image consultant.
Okay. This was one of the trainings. I was invited by the Gujarat. I had to train the Gujarat police, right? So I prepared my presentation. I was well prepared for it. I reached there one day prior. That is how I was supposed to do it. And one day prior evening also, I'm just going through my presentation, preparing for everything. Next day morning, I reached there, and the IG police, in the opening address, he addresses everybody in Hindi. And by the end of the closing address, he tells me, "Ma'am, अच्छा होगा अगर आप हिंदी में training conduct करें." So at that very moment, so I said, yes, of course, I'll do that. But inside I was thinking, how am I going to do it? Because I was not prepared for it. Although speaking Hindi is not difficult, that's our mother tongue, it's very easy to speak. But when conducting a training, you have to have that content specific words. That was all prepared in English, and suddenly you have to say, I said, yes, I will do it. But I was just thinking how to go about it. And then, of course, since I didn't have a choice, I thought of taking it head on. And I conducted it. So what I decided was that, yes, certain specific words, even if I use in English, it will do, because they will understand at least this much. So I conducted my training, and it went off very well. Again, a great feedback I got, and, future training assignments with them. And all the police people standing.
So did you actually speak in Hindi for the entire training, or you had
yes,
to mix English and Hindi and then?
No, I spoke in Hindi because they were comfortable either in Hindi or Gujarati. Obviously, Gujarati I couldn't have done. So Hindi was this thing. It's easy for me to speak Hindi. That's not a problem. But the thing is, yes, if you're told, before that, yes, you have to conduct the training in Hindi, it would have been better. But still, since I didn't have a choice, I did it. I did it. And again, I got a standing ovation. And that was the time that, I realized that you have to, depending on the situation, you have to change your plans at the end, but you should be prepared for it. And, that was the moment when I felt that, yes, it is something, I was so happy to be here that, the police people standing and giving me a standing ovation and telling me, ma'am, this kind of a training, we can have it every week. And that training was for stress management and emotional intelligence. And there was, again, a lot of activities I had used. So they were saying, ma'am, like we are feeling so good and so energetic after doing this training. We can do this kind of a training every week. So that is the moment I felt that, yes, it is worth becoming a trainer. And, it cannot be compared with any kind of monetary benefits when you get this kind of a response from your participants.
Absolutely. It's full of gratitude,
Yes.
a lot of
Yes.
respect that one earns, with
Definitely, ma'am.
Great. So tell us, Kavita, how do you stay relevant in today's times? Because you also realize the fact that, it's very important to constantly upgrade, oneself, in
Yes.
this world of competition. So what is your mantra of staying relevant in today's times?
Okay, ma'am, COVID-19 pandemic has really changed the way we live, the way we work. Everything has changed. So initially, when this phase started, I was like, and not only me, everybody was like, I don't know what's going to happen and how we are going to get back to work, or taking care of other things also. But believe me, ma'am, within a week after the lockdown, at least my sessions in the university started. And 1 month post that, my other clients also contacted me and we started having online sessions. And I attended all the ICBI sessions, which was there for MHTTT. So it was like, I can say just a week, 10 days, hardly 1 month that we were thinking how to go about it. And then everything happened as far as the trainings are concerned. Right. So apart from that, a lot of sessions I have attended to upgrade myself, to upskill myself. And then I have been thinking, and I was not getting time to start my own YouTube channel, which I did again. And these about 5-6 months back only. And because I was at home, so I thought, why not utilize this time to do that, what I had been, thinking of doing. Apart from this, I've started designing online courses for one of the Gujarat. This online platform is there in Ahmedabad, Guni Guru. I've started designing online courses for them. So that is how, a lot of things to keep yourself occupied. The only thing is the way of working has changed, but the work is still going on. That is what I feel.
So that means your hands are absolutely full. I mean, you are busy
Yes.
with so many assignments.
Yes, yes, ma'am, definitely. That is why I said it's a must to have have a routine. Otherwise, it becomes difficult.
So tell me, how many assignments in a month do you do? I mean, including your webinars and online sessions put together.
Ma'am, it's not fixed, but I would say, twice in a week. On an average, you can say about 7 to 8. Definitely, I'm doing 7 to 8. Yes.
Great. So pandemic really didn't affect you negatively, that means?
No, not at all, ma'am. So many other things I started doing, which I was, thinking of doing, but was not able to, that I've started doing now.
And what is your YouTube channel called?
Ma'am, it's by my name only, Kavita Dhillon.
So you share your videos in that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I've made my videos. A lot of, related to soft skills and NLP. I have made those videos and I put them on the YouTube. I've already put about 20 plus videos I've already put.
Great. So one last question, Kavita.
Yes.
What is your message to all those people who are contemplating to start something of their own but are still confused about the next step? So what would be the message that you would like to give to such people from your side?
Okay. So all those people who are thinking of starting something of their own, they need to have certain things, they need to do a little bit of planning, I say, before they, think of putting down their steady jobs. So they need to plan a bit. First of all, they need to, find out what exactly is their passion. Very important. Once they have identified their passion, they need to do the complete research. Okay, this is my passion, how to go about it, what all I'll have to do. And then comes, training yourself from seasoned professionals. Because at times it happens, they say, okay, I'm interested in this, and they start, working in that particular area. And I feel, after some time, they just, drop out of it because they're not well trained. So training from seasoned professionals is extremely important. And then comes, having mentors. Because when I said, you are, start facing, you get a bad feedback, or you start facing failures, you're not getting success as you were expecting. So there comes the role of mentors. No matter what age group you are, how successful you are, mentors are extremely important in all our phases of life. There is where, that is the place when mentors come to your rescue. They tell you how to get out of that situation, how to move to the next level. So having a mentor is extremely important in your life. And then it's like, networking is extremely important again, because when you are meeting the people, you come to know about the other people. You come to know about the latest happenings in your area of passion. Apart from that, you get an opportunity to tell the people that yes, you are there, and what are your skills, what you can give to them, how you can, how the others can benefit out of your skills. So that can happen only through networking. Apart from that, you need to figure out your finances. Very important. Because you might take the training and you start, but if you want to remain in that, if you want to go to the next level, I would say it is extremely important to invest something, because there is no returns without investment. So every time you need to go to the next level, you need an investment. So you need to figure out your finances. Okay, once I've done this, what next I'm doing and how I'm going to do it. And last but not the least, I would say that they need to understand that failure is part of the process. It's not that at the very first step they will be successful. They might face a lot of situations where, they feel that they should not have done it. They took a wrong step by starting this. But no, this is not the case. Everybody faces that failure so this is a part of the process. You have to take it in your stride, and you have to learn from it and move on in your life. That is what I want to say.
Absolutely brilliant. And I think all these important things that you have shared at the end is like very, very meaningful. Yes. And I also feel, Kavita, that you are not somebody who's extremely ambitious, but you are somebody who's very focused.
Yes.
So that is something which is very important, because, ambition without focus also loses its charm. So that is something which one needs to keep in mind, before they actually think of getting into any direction. So once you get a direction, you have to stay focused, and that is how you will be able to, approach to the right goal in life.
Yes.
So it was lovely interacting with you, Kavita. I mean, this is
Same
the first
here,
time
ma'am.
that we have spoken at so much length and in so much detail, because we've never got the opportunity to interact.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But it was lovely knowing about the kind of lifestyle that you're living, because you are really, really, totally into it, and with your kind of discipline, your kind of schedule, I mean, there is no looking back, and I'm sure that there is no reason why you will not be successful, and you are not successful. So you are definitely on the right track, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
All the very best.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for having me here, ma'am. Thank you very much.
All the best, and have a great 2021.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and same to you. Thank you.
So all those people who are watching this live interaction between myself and Kavita, I wish you all the success as well. And see you next week right here at the same time. And this is myself and Kavita signing off for the day. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.